Welcome back to my channel. Today, we explore the value of specific coins, the most valuable. Silver Washington quarter dollar coin, coins value in market in dollar, so let's get started. First up, the 1982 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is one of the most talked about modern U.S. coins among collectors today. Even though millions of these quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, finding one in attractive condition has become much harder over the years. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately after production, and because the U.S. Mint did not release official mint sets in 1982, very few high-quality examples were saved by collectors at the time. That simple fact has made the 1982 P Washington quarter much more desirable in today's coin market. When you look at this coin, you will see the portrait of George Washington on the front side with the small P mint mark located near the ponytail. The reverse side features the famous eagle design that was used on Washington quarters for many decades. Although many people call this a silver quarter because of its bright appearance, the coin is actually made from a copper and nickel-clad composition. It does not contain real silver, but some examples can still be worth impressive amounts depending on their condition and rarity. In good circulated condition, the 1982 P Washington quarter is usually worth more than face value. Coins with visible details and moderate wear may sell for $1 to several dollars in today's market. Collectors often search for coins that still show strong details in Washington's hair and sharp feather lines on the eagle. The cleaner the surfaces and the fewer scratches on the coin, the better the value can become. A bright coin with original mint luster can attract much stronger prices than a heavily worn example. The real excitement begins with uncirculated coins. Because so few pristine examples were preserved in 1982, collectors pay strong money for coins graded in mint state condition. A certified MS-63 or MS-64 coin can sell for several dollars, while higher grades like MS-65 and MS-66 may bring much larger prices in auctions. The rarest examples graded MS-67 or higher are extremely difficult to find because most coins from this year were poorly handled during production and distribution. One of the most famous auction results for the 1982 P Washington quarter involved a nearly perfect coin graded MS-68. That coin sold for more than $10,000 in a major auction, surprising many collectors around the country. While examples like that are incredibly rare, they prove how important condition can be in the coin collecting world. A simple quarter worth 25 cents in circulation can become a valuable collectible if preserved in exceptional condition for many years. Collectors also search carefully for mint errors on the 1982 P quarter. Error coins are pieces that were accidentally produced with mistakes during the minting process. Some examples include doubled letters, off-center strikes, clip planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal. These unusual mistakes can increase the value dramatically because collectors enjoy owning rare and unusual pieces from the United States Mint. Depending on the type of error and its visibility, some 1982 P error quarters can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you own one of these quarters, it is important to examine the coin carefully under bright lighting. Look for original shine, strong details, and any unusual features that may separate your coin from ordinary circulated examples. Never clean the coin because cleaning can reduce the value significantly. Many collectors prefer natural surfaces, even if the coin appears dark or slightly dirty. Cleaning often leaves scratches and removes the original mint texture that serious buyers want to see. Today, coin collecting continues to grow online, and many collectors search through old change, coin rolls, and family collections, hoping to discover valuable quarters from the early 1980s. The 1982 P Washington quarter remains one of the most interesting modern coins because it combines history, rarity in high grades, and the possibility of valuable mint errors. Even though most examples are common, the best surviving coins still bring impressive prices in the auction market. So before you spend an old Washington quarter from 1982, take a closer look at the mint mark and the condition. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance could actually be a collectible piece worth far more than face value. For collectors and treasure hunters alike, the 1982 P Washington quarter continues to be an exciting coin to search for in today's market. Next up, the 1984 D Washington quarter is one of the most interesting modern American coins that collectors still search for today. Many people think old quarters are always valuable because of silver content, but the truth is that some newer quarters can also become very valuable depending on condition, rarity, and collector demand. The 1984 D Washington quarter was produced at the Denver Mint, and the small D mint mark on the front side of the coin shows where it was made. Even though this quarter is not made of silver like quarters before 1965, collectors still pay attention to high-quality examples because some have sold for impressive prices in today's auction market. In 1984, the Denver Mint produced more than 546 million Washington quarters. Because such a large number were made, these coins are still commonly found in circulation today. Most people use them every day without realizing that some examples could actually be worth more than face value. The value depends mostly on the condition of the coin. A heavily worn quarter may only be worth 25 cents, but a cleaner coin with sharp details and strong luster can attract collector interest and higher prices. The Washington quarter design is one of the most famous coin designs in American history. The front side of the coin features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. There is an eagle standing proudly with its wings spread. The design looks simple, but collectors pay close attention to every detail when grading these coins. Small differences in wear, scratches, shine, and strike quality can make a huge difference in value. A 1984 D Washington quarter in good condition usually shows visible signs of circulation. The high points of Washington's hair may appear flat, and some of the details on the eagle may also look worn down. Even with this wear, the coin can still be collectible because many people enjoy building complete Washington quarter sets. In today's market, a circulated 1984 D quarter in good condition is generally worth between 25 cents and $1, depending on overall appearance and collector demand. The real excitement begins when collectors find coins in uncirculated condition. Uncirculated coins are pieces that were never heavily used in everyday transactions. These coins still have their original mint shine, also known as luster. Professional grading companies examine coins carefully and assign grades based on condition. Coins graded MS-65 or higher are considered premium quality, and these examples can sell for much more than ordinary circulated quarters. Some top-quality 1984 D quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars at major auctions because it is difficult to find perfectly preserved examples from circulation years ago. Collectors are willing to pay strong prices for coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and excellent eye appeal. A high-grade example certified by professional grading services can sometimes become one of the most valuable modern quarters from the 1980s. Another important reason this coin attracts attention is the possibility of mint errors. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process, and collectors love these unusual pieces because they are different from regular coins. Some 1984 D quarters may show off-center strikes, doubled lettering, filled mint marks, or other unusual features. These error coins can sometimes sell for hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and visibility of the mistake. If you have a 1984 D Washington quarter, it is always a good idea to inspect it carefully under bright light. Look closely at the date, mint mark, lettering, and edges of the coin. Coins with unusual details or strong original luster may deserve further examination. Many collectors use magnifying glasses or digital microscopes to search for hidden varieties and mint errors. One important thing to remember is never to clean old coins. Cleaning can damage the original surface and lower the value significantly. Many beginners believe shiny coins are worth more, but experienced collectors prefer natural surfaces with original texture and color. Even a rare coin can lose value if it has been harshly cleaned. Today, coin collecting continues to grow in popularity because people enjoy the excitement of discovering valuable coins in everyday change. The 1984 D. Washington quarter may look ordinary at first glance, but certain examples in high grades or with rare errors can surprise collectors with impressive auction prices. That is why many collectors continue searching through rolls of quarters, old piggy banks, and family coin jars hoping to discover hidden treasures. So before spending your old Washington quarters, take a closer look at them carefully. A simple 1984 D quarter in good condition may only be worth a small premium, but a rare high-grade example or mint error could potentially be worth hundreds of dollars in today's auction market. Next up, the 1989 D. Washington quarter dollar is one of the most interesting modern American coins that many collectors still search for today. Even though millions of these coins were made at the Denver Mint, some examples in better condition can still attract strong attention in the coin collecting market. The D mint mark on the coin shows that it was produced in Denver, and collectors always check this small letter carefully because mint marks are very important in identifying American coins. Many people think old quarters automatically contain silver, but the regular 1989 D. Washington quarter is actually made from a copper and nickel-clad composition instead of real silver. Still, the coin remains popular because of its history, beautiful design, and potential auction value in higher grades. The front side of the coin features the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Around the portrait are the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 1989. On the back side, collectors can see the famous eagle design holding arrows and olive branches. This classic reverse design was used on Washington quarters for many decades before the state quarter series later changed the design. Because of this classic appearance, many collectors still enjoy searching through old coin rolls and pocket change hopping to find a clean and valuable example from 1989. Most 1989 D quarters found in circulation today are only worth their face value of 25 cents because they were heavily produced and used in everyday transactions. Coins in good condition usually show visible wear on Washington's hair and face, while the eagle on the reverse side may also appear flat or weak in some areas. Scratches, dirt, and faded luster are common on circulated coins. Even so, collectors still save these quarters because some pieces can become valuable if they are in unusually nice condition. When coin collectors talk about value, condition is everything. A 1989 D. Washington quarter in ordinary circulated condition may only sell for a small premium over face value, but coins in mint state grades can become much more expensive. Mint state means the coin has little or no wear from circulation and still keeps its original shine. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading companies can sometimes sell for impressive prices in auctions. High-grade examples with bright luster, sharp strikes, and clean surfaces are much harder to find than most people realize. Some auction records have shown that top-condition 1989 D quarters sold for hundreds of dollars because advanced collectors compete for the finest known examples. This surprises many beginners because the coin itself is not extremely old. The reason behind these high prices is rarity in top condition. Millions of quarters may exist, but only a very small number survive in nearly perfect shape. Collectors always want the best possible examples for their collections, and this demand can push auction prices much higher. Another exciting part of collecting Washington quarters is searching for mint errors. Some 1989 D quarters may contain unusual mistakes created during the minting process. These can include off-center strikes, doubled letters, missing clad layers, or weakly struck details. Error coins are very popular because they are different from normal coins and can sometimes become highly valuable. Even small minting mistakes may attract strong interest from collectors if the error is genuine and clearly visible. If you have a 1989 D Washington quarter, it is important to examine it carefully under good lighting. Look closely at the surfaces, edges, and mint mark. A coin with strong shine and fewer scratches may have a better chance of carrying extra value. Many people clean their coins hopping to improve appearance, but cleaning usually lowers collector value because buyers prefer original natural surfaces. Professional collectors can easily spot cleaning marks, so leaving the coin untouched is usually the best choice. The 1989 D Washington quarter continues to be a favorite among collectors because it is easy to find, affordable for beginners, and still capable of producing surprising auction prices in high grades. While most examples are common, rare high-quality coins and interesting mint errors continue to attract attention in today's coin market. For many collectors, the excitement comes from the possibility that an ordinary-looking quarter could actually be worth far more than expected. That is why people still search through old jars, bank rolls, and collections hopping to discover a valuable 1989 D Washington quarter hiding among everyday coins. Next up, the 1986 D Washington quarter is one of the modern American coins that many collectors still search for today. Even though this coin was produced in very large numbers at the Denver Mint, some examples in very fine condition and higher grades can still attract strong attention in today's coin collecting market. Many people believe old quarters automatically contain silver, but the regular 1986 D Washington quarter was actually made from a copper-nickel clad composition. Still, collectors continue looking for clean and well-preserved examples because certain coins can sell for impressive amounts in auctions. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, and over the years it became one of the most recognizable coins in America. By 1986, the Denver Mint struck more than 500 million quarters with the D mint mark. The mint mark can be seen on the front of the coin near Washington's ponytail. Even with such a high mintage, finding older examples in attractive condition without damage or heavy wear is becoming harder every year. A 1986 D Washington quarter in very fine condition usually shows moderate wear on Washington's hair and on the eagle design located on the reverse side of the coin. However, most details still remain clear and visible. The lettering around the coin should also remain sharp. Coins in this condition are popular among beginner collectors because they are affordable and still look attractive in a collection. In today's market, a normal circulated example may only be worth face value or slightly more, but cleaner examples can sell for several dollars depending on quality and collector demand. Collectors especially pay attention to coins with strong luster and minimal marks. Coins that were carefully preserved for decades often stand out from heavily used pieces found in circulation. Many people search through old coin jars, bank rolls, and family collections, hopping to discover a high-grade example. Even a common coin can become valuable if it survives in outstanding condition. This is why grading is extremely important in the coin market today. Some uncirculated 1986 D Washington quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars in auctions. Coins graded in very high mint state conditions are much harder to find because most quarters entered circulation immediately after production. High-grade examples with brilliant surfaces and sharp details attract serious collectors willing to pay premium prices. Auction records show that exceptional examples certified by grading companies like PCGS and NGC can sell for several $100s depending on market demand and eye appeal. Another exciting part of collecting the 1986 D quarter is the possibility of finding mint errors. Error coins are highly desired because they are unusual and rare. Some collectors have discovered off-center strikes, doubled dies, missing clad layers, and other minting mistakes on 1986 D quarters. These errors can increase the value of a coin dramatically. A quarter with a major mint error may sell for far more than a normal example, especially if the error is clearly visible and professionally authenticated. One important thing collectors should avoid is cleaning old coins. Many beginners think cleaning improves a coin's appearance, but in reality cleaning usually lowers the value. Professional collectors prefer coins with original surfaces because they show natural aging and authenticity. Harsh cleaning can leave scratches and damage that permanently reduce collector interest. Even dark toning on an older quarter can sometimes make the coin more attractive rather than less valuable. The edge of the 1986 D quarter also helps identify its composition. Unlike older silver quarters minted before 1965, the 1986 D coin shows a copper-colored stripe along the edge. This is because the coin was made with layers of nickel and copper instead of solid silver. Some people confuse dark-toned clad quarters with silver coins, but checking the edge is one of the easiest ways to tell the difference. Today, coin collecting continues growing in popularity across the United States and around the world. Many collectors enjoy searching for hidden treasures in ordinary pocket change. The 1986 D Washington quarter reminds collectors that even modern coins can become valuable under the right conditions. While most examples remain common, rare high-grade pieces and unusual mint errors continue bringing excitement to the hobby. If you own a 1986 D Washington quarter, it may be worth examining closely under good lighting. Look carefully at the surfaces, details, and mint mark. A well-preserved coin with strong eye appeal could be worth much more than its face value in today's auction market. That possibility is what keeps collectors searching every day, hopping to find the next hidden treasure waiting inside an ordinary-looking quarter. Next up, the 1970 Washington quarter without a mint mark is one of those coins that many people ignore every single day. But collectors know that certain examples can be surprisingly valuable in today's auction market. At first glance, this quarter may look like an ordinary coin that was used for decades in everyday shopping, vending machines, and pocket change. But some rare versions have attracted strong attention from collectors across the United States. If you have an old 1970 quarter sitting in a jar, wallet, or coin collection, you may want to examine it closely because the value can depend heavily on condition, rarity, and possible mint errors. The Washington Quarter series was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design became one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. By the year 1970, the United States Mint was producing millions of quarters for circulation, and quarters without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia coins usually did not include a mint mark, which is why many 1970 quarters appear plain under the date. Although many people think older quarters are made of silver, the 1970 Washington quarter was actually produced using a copper-nickel clad composition. The United States stopped making regular silver quarters after 1964 because silver prices had increased dramatically. This means that most 1970 quarters are not silver coins. However, there are rare exceptions that make some of these quarters extremely valuable to collectors. In circulated good condition, a standard 1970 Washington quarter without a mint mark is usually worth only a small amount above face value. Most examples sell for around 50 cents to a few dollars depending on the amount of wear and overall appearance. Coins with heavy scratches, fatting details, or damage are generally considered common. But when a coin survives in better condition with strong detail and original mint luster, collectors are willing to pay much higher prices. One of the biggest factors affecting value is coin grading. Collectors and auction buyers examine the smallest details very carefully. A quarter with clean surfaces, sharp lettering, and bright shine, can receive a much higher grade from professional grading companies. Coins graded mint state often sell for far more than circulated examples because they appear nearly untouched. Some certified high-grade 1970 quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars in online auctions and major coin sales. Collectors are especially interested in rare mint errors. These mistakes happen during the coin production process and can make an otherwise common quarter very valuable. Some 1970 Washington quarters show doubling in the lettering or date, while others may have off-center strikes or clipped edges. Error coins are much scarcer than normal coins, which is why collectors compete strongly to own them. One famous error involving the 1970 quarter occurred when a few coins were accidentally struck on silver Canadian coin planchets. These rare error coins are extremely valuable because they contain silver and were produced by mistake at the mint. Some examples discovered over the years have sold for thousands of dollars in auction markets. This is one reason why collectors carefully inspect the edge of every 1970 quarter they find. If the edge of your quarter shows a copper stripe, it is the normal clad version. But if the edge appears completely silver with no copper visible, it may deserve closer examination. Weight is also important because unusual planchets can change the coin's weight slightly. Serious collectors often use magnifying glasses and digital scales to inspect coins for these tiny details. Another important thing to remember is that cleaning a coin can reduce its value. Many beginners try to polish old coins to make them look shiny, but experienced collectors prefer coins with natural surfaces. Cleaning can leave scratches and remove original mint texture, which may lower the auction value significantly. It is always safer to leave old coins in their original condition until they can be examined properly. The popularity of coin collecting has continued to grow in recent years thanks to online auctions, social media videos, and coin collecting communities. Many people now search through pocket change hopping to discover hidden treasures. Stories of valuable coins found in old jars and family collections continue to inspire collectors everywhere. The 1970 Washington quarter without a mint mark may seem ordinary at first, but rare errors and high-grade examples can still bring impressive prices in today's market. Whether you are a beginner collector or simply someone curious about old coins, checking your spare change can sometimes lead to exciting discoveries. Every coin has a story, and sometimes even a simple quarter can become a valuable piece of American history worth far more than 25 cents. Next up, the 1968 United States Washington quarter without mint mark. This coin is very common in circulation, but because of its age and silver-looking appearance, many beginners in coin collecting assume it might be rare or made of silver. However, the true story of this coin in today's auction market is quite different and very interesting to understand. The 1968 Washington quarter was minted during a major change in United States coinage history. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but after that year, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition due to rising silver prices. This means the 1968 quarter contains no silver at all. It only has a core of copper with outer layers of nickel, which gives it a similar shiny appearance but without any precious metal value. Because of this change, the coin's intrinsic metal value is very low, and its worth depends mostly on condition and collector demand rather than silver content. The no mint mark on this coin simply indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1968, the Philadelphia Mint did not use mint marks on quarters, so every Philadelphia-struck coin from that year naturally comes without a letter like D or S. Many people mistakenly believe that no mint mark means rarity, but in this case, it actually represents the most common version of the coin. In fact, hundreds of millions of these quarters were minted, making them extremely abundant even today. When we talk about the value of this coin in today's market, most circulated examples are still worth only their face value of 25 cents. Even if the coin looks slightly better than average, it usually does not exceed $1 in regular coin dealing. The reason is simple. There is no silver content and no scarcity in standard condition. Coin dealers and collectors see it as a common date coin rather than a rare collectible. However, the situation changes when the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition. If a 1968 Washington quarter has been preserved without wear, scratches, or damage, and is graded by professional services like MS-65 or higher, then its value can increase significantly. In modern auction markets, such high-grade examples can sell anywhere from around $10 to $30, depending on eye appeal, luster, and demand from collectors. In some rare cases where the coin is exceptionally well preserved, prices can go slightly higher, but it is still not considered a high-value rarity. There is also another important factor that can affect the value of this coin, and that is mint errors. Occasionally, coins are struck with mistakes such as double dies, off-center strikes, or other minting anomalies. If a 1968 Washington quarter has a noticeable and verified error, collectors may pay much higher prices for it, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars. However, these error coins are very rare and should not be confused with regular circulation coins. In general, the 1968 Washington quarter without mint mark is not a silver coin, not a rare date, and not a high-value coin in normal condition. Its main importance lies in its place in U.S. coin history as part of the modern clad coinage system introduced after the end of silver quarters. For most people who find this coin in circulation, it will remain worth just 25 cents, but for collectors who specialize in high-grade or error coins, there can still be some interest and small premium value. So if you come across a 1968 Washington quarter, take a closer look and check its condition carefully. While it may not make you rich, it is still a small piece of American monetary history that reflects an important transition in coin production. Understanding its true value helps avoid confusion and also builds better knowledge for anyone interested in coin collecting. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar from the United States, a coin that often creates confusion among new collectors and everyday people who come across it in pocket change. At first look, it may seem like just another old quarter, but this coin actually marks an important turning point in American coin history. The 1965 Washington quarter does not have a mint mark, and that is completely normal for this time period. Many people think a missing mint mark means something rare or unusual, but in reality, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from all coins produced between 1965 and 1967. So whether a coin was made in Philadelphia or Denver during this period, it will still appear without any mint mark. The 1965 Washington quarter is also different from earlier quarters because of its metal composition. Before 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver, but starting in 1965, the government changed the composition due to rising silver costs. The new quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad material. This means the coin contains no silver value, even though it looks similar to earlier silver quarters. Because of this change, most 1965 quarters are very common and were produced in extremely large numbers, with over 1 billion coins struck for circulation. In terms of value, most 1965 Washington quarters in normal circulated condition, even if they are in good shape, are still worth only their face value of 25 cents. This is because they are not rare and were heavily used in everyday transactions. However, condition plays an important role in coin collecting. If a coin is in higher mint state condition, meaning it has never been used in circulation and still shows strong original shine, the value can increase slightly. Some uncirculated examples can sell for around $1 to $10 depending on their quality and grading. In rare cases where the coin is professionally graded at a very high level, such as MS-66 or MS-67, collectors may pay more because high-grade examples are harder to find. There are also special collector versions known as special mint set coins that were produced in 1965 instead of regular proof sets. These coins often have better detail and a slightly different finish compared to regular circulation coins. Some of these can be worth more than standard quarters, sometimes reaching $10 to $50 or higher depending on condition and eye appeal. However, these are still considered affordable collectibles compared to many rare U.S. coins. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1965 Washington quarter is the possibility of mint errors. Although rare, some coins were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. These error coins are extremely valuable because they contain silver instead of the new clad material. If someone finds a 1965 quarter that is heavier than normal or has a solid silver edge instead of a copper stripe, it could be a rare silver error coin. Normal clad quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, while silver quarters weigh around 6.25 grams. This small difference is very important for identifying valuable error coins. In today's auction market, standard 1965 Washington quarters do not usually sell for high prices unless they are in exceptional condition or have a rare error. Most regular coins remain at face value, while uncirculated or high-grade examples may bring a small premium. The real value comes from rare mint errors or perfectly preserved specimens that collectors are actively searching for. These special coins can sometimes reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on authenticity and grading certification. Overall, the 1965 Washington quarter is not a $1 million coin, but it still holds historical importance. It represents a major change in U.S. coin production from silver to modern clad coinage. For collectors, it is a good starting point to learn about grading, errors, and coin history. If you ever find a 1965 quarter in your change, it is worth taking a closer look at it. While most are common, there is always a small chance that an unusual detail or error could make it much more valuable than expected. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark, and what it can be worth in today's auction market when it is in very fine condition. This coin is part of the long-running Washington quarter series that features President George Washington on the obverse side. The design is one of the most recognized in American coin history. On the reverse side, you will find the eagle design with outstretched wings, a symbol of strength and unity. The 1967 issue is especially important because it was struck during a unique period in U.S. minting history, when the United States Mint removed mint marks from all circulating coins. That means you will not see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco on this coin. Every 1967 quarter appears without a mint mark, which often confuses new collectors, but it is completely normal for this year. The 1967 Washington quarter was produced in extremely large numbers, with over 1.5 billion coins minted. Because of this huge mintage, the coin is considered very common in circulated condition. It was made using a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver. This is another important point for collectors, because quarters produced before 1965 were made of 90% silver. But by 1967, the U.S. Mint had already switched to a copper-nickel layer over a pure copper core. So even though it looks like silver, it has no silver content. When we talk about value, condition plays the most important role. A coin in very fine condition means it has been in circulation, but the main details are still clearly visible. On the 1967 Washington quarter, this means Washington's hair and facial features are still well defined. And on the reverse side, the eagle's wings and body details are still visible, although there is moderate wear on the highest points of the design. It is not a mint state coin, but it still has solid collectible appeal. In today's auction market, most 1967 Washington quarters in very fine condition are still very affordable. The majority of examples sell for around face value, which is 25 cents. However, depending on eye appeal, luster, and market demand, some collectors may pay a small premium. In general, a very fine example might sell anywhere from about 30 cents up to around $1 or $2. These are typical market ranges for standard circulated pieces. It is important to understand that this coin does not gain value from being silver or rare in normal condition. Its value is mostly based on grading and collector interest. Since billions were produced, supply is very high, which keeps the price low for regular examples. However, this does not mean it is completely without interest. Many collectors still seek out well-preserved examples to complete date sets of Washington quarters. The real excitement with the 1967 quarter comes from rare errors and high-grade specimens. If a coin has minting mistakes such as double die errors, off-center strikes, clip planchets, or unusual die cracks, its value can increase significantly. Some error examples have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic and visible the error is. Also, if a 1967 quarter is found in extremely high mint state condition, especially MS-65 or above, it can also bring much higher prices compared to normal circulated pieces. Another interesting fact is that in 1967, the U.S. Mint also produced special mint sets instead of traditional proof coins. These sets sometimes contain quarters with sharper details and better finishes than regular circulation strikes. Coins from these sets can also carry higher value if they are well preserved. For most collectors and viewers, finding a 1967 Washington quarter is still a nice addition to a coin collection, even if it is not a rare or silver coin. It represents an important transition period in U.S. coinage history, when the country moved away from silver coins and introduced modern clad coinage for everyday use. So if you come across a 1967 no mint mark Washington quarter in very fine condition, it is a good collectible piece, but in today's market it will usually only be worth a small amount above face value unless it has a rare error or exceptional grade. The key to higher value is always condition, rarity, and collector demand. In conclusion, the 1967 Washington quarter remains an important and historic coin, but in normal very fine condition, it is still a common and affordable piece in the coin collecting world. Always take a closer look at your coins, because sometimes small details, mint errors, or higher grades can turn an ordinary quarter into something much more valuable in the auction. Next up, the 1972 D Washington quarter in very fine condition and its value in today's auction market. This coin may look ordinary at first glance, but when we study its history, condition, and collector demand, we can understand its true worth and why some people still pay attention to it. The Washington Quarter series started in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Over the years, this quarter became one of the most widely used coins in American circulation. By 1972, the U.S. Mint was producing quarters in very large numbers to meet everyday usage across the country. The 1972 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark on the coin. This mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in that year, making it a very common coin even today. One of the most important things to understand about the 1972 D Washington quarter is its composition. Many new collectors assume older quarters are made of silver, but that is not the case here. By 1972, the United States had already changed the quarter composition from silver to a copper-nickel clad structure. This means the coin contains no silver value, and its base value is not tied to precious metal prices. Instead, its value comes from condition, collector interest, and any possible mint errors. When we talk about very fine condition, we are referring to a coin that has been circulated but still retains most of its major design details. On a 1972 D Washington quarter in very fine grade, you can still clearly see George Washington's facial features, hair detail, and parts of the lettering. On the reverse side, the eagle is still visible with defined wings and structure, although some parts may show moderate wear from years of use in circulation. This level of wear is expected for coins that have passed through many hands over decades. Now let's discuss the actual market value of this coin in today's auction environment. Because the 1972 D quarter is extremely common, most examples in very fine condition are not considered rare. In general, their value stays close to face value. In most coin markets and auctions, a typical 1972 D quarter in very fine condition may sell for around 25 cents to about $1. In some cases, if the coin has slightly better eye appeal or is part of a collector set, it might reach $2 or $3, but it does not usually go much higher in this grade. However, condition plays a very important role in coin pricing. If the same 1972 D quarter is found in uncirculated or mint state condition, the value can increase significantly. For example, coins graded MS-63 or MS-64 can sometimes sell for around $5 to $10. Higher mint state grades like MS-65 or MS-66 can bring even more, sometimes reaching $15 to $20 or more depending on demand and auction competition. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can also increase buyer confidence and improve selling prices. It is also important to mention that rare errors or varieties can completely change the value of a coin. If a 1972 D Washington quarter has a minting error such as a double die, off-center strike, or other unusual feature, collectors may pay much higher prices, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars or more. However, these error coins are not common, and most regular circulation coins do not have these features. In today's coin collecting market, demand is mostly driven by rarity and condition rather than age alone. Since the 1972 D Washington quarter was produced in massive quantities, it remains a very common coin. That is why most examples in very fine condition are considered low-value coins. Still, it is always worth checking your change carefully because better preserved examples or error varieties can sometimes be hidden in everyday circulation. So if you come across a 1972 D Washington quarter, do not expect it to be a silver treasure or a high-value rarity, but it still holds historical importance and can be a nice addition to a beginner collection, especially if it is in better condition than usual. Always take a closer look before spending your coins, because sometimes small details can make a difference in value. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this coin value breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more coin information, hidden value discoveries, and real market updates from the world of coin. Next up, the 1966 Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary quarter that you might find in your pocket change, but when you understand its background, condition, and current market demand, you realize why collectors still pay attention to it even today. This coin was produced during an important transition period in United States coin history, and that makes it more meaningful than just its face value. The 1966 Washington quarter was minted during a time when the United States had already removed silver from circulating quarters. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices and a shortage of coins in circulation, the U.S. government changed the composition. Starting in 1965, quarters were made from a copper-nickel-clad material instead of silver. The 1966 quarter belongs to this new era, meaning it does not contain any silver content. This is an important detail because many beginners often assume older-looking quarters might still be silver, but in reality, the 1966 issue is completely clad. Another important feature of the 1966 Washington quarter is that it has no mint mark. This is not an error or rare feature. It is completely normal. From 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from coins intentionally. The reason was to discourage coin hoarding and simplify production during a period of heavy demand for coinage. So whether your 1966 quarter was struck in Philadelphia or another facility, it will still appear without a mint mark. This confuses many collectors, but it is actually standard for that time period. Now let's talk about its condition and value in today's market, especially in very fine condition. A very fine coin means it has been in circulation but still shows clear details. On a 1966 Washington quarter in very fine condition, you can still see Washington's hair details, facial outline, and the eagle design on the reverse side, although there will be moderate wear on the high points. The coin is not damaged, but it clearly shows signs of use in circulation. In today's auction and collector market, the value of a standard 1966 Washington quarter in very fine condition is generally very low. Most of the time, it is worth around face value, which is 25 cents. In some cases, depending on demand or bulk buying, it might sell for around 30 to 50 cents, but it is still considered a common coin. The reason for this low value is the extremely high mintage. Over 800 million of these quarters were produced, making them very easy to find even today. However, even though the regular coin is common, collectors still keep an eye out for special variations and errors. Error coins are where the real value can increase. For example, if a 1966 quarter has a double die strike, off-center strike, or any unusual minting defect, its value can be significantly higher than normal. Some error coins from this year have sold for tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the severity and rarity of the mistake. That is why collectors always recommend checking every coin carefully, instead of assuming it has no value. Another factor that affects value is condition beyond very fine. If a 1966 Washington quarter is found in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially with strong luster, and no wear, it can be worth a few dollars or more. However, once the coin is in circulated grades like very fine, fine, or good, its value usually remains close to face value unless there is a rare error involved. Even though the 1966 Washington quarter is not a rare or high-value silver coin, it still holds historical importance. It represents the early years of clad coinage in the United States and shows how the country adapted to economic challenges during the 1960s. For collectors, it is a reminder of a major shift in U.S. currency history, moving away from precious metals and toward modern coin production methods. So if you ever come across a 1966 Washington quarter in your pocket change or coin jar, you should know that while it may not make you rich in very fine condition, it still carries historical value and collector interest. It is always worth checking for errors or better conditions, because sometimes small details can turn an ordinary coin into something more valuable. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and even common coins like this one can sometimes hold unexpected opportunities if you know what to look for.